In today's video, I'm using up scrap vinyl with some fun spring projects from Target's Bullseye section. I went a few weeks ago and found so many cute items. I'll be customizing them with adhesive vinyl. These projects are beginner friendly and great for using up your random vinyl pieces, so let's jump right in. For my first project, I found this little shelf. I love the scallop edge at the top. This was $5 and I plan to put it in my 4-year-old daughter's room on her wall, and it has the hardware to do that, which is nice. I'm going to paint it first using apple barrel paint. I find this at Walmart and it's what I use for the majority of my painting projects. I also love these blue paintbrushes. I buy them at Michael's. My favorite thing about them is I don't have issues with the bristles coming off and getting stuck in the paint, so they're great. I'll make sure to link everything down in my description box. I'm going to be putting little Tony figures on the shelf. Some other ideas is Lego mini builds, treasure shelf for things they collect like rocks or charms, or if you have a specific theme in their room like princesses, you could put little princess figures on there. Lots of fun ideas for this. I'm going to put vinyl on the scalloped edge. I could put Tony's on there to label it, but this will probably change in the future, so I'm just going to personalize it with her name. I love painting projects. I really enjoyed this, but it did take me a little longer than I thought just because there's so many of those little edges. I did just have a good idea. I think I should start timing how long my projects take me and put timestamps in my video. That way it'll give you a really good idea of how long the projects take. Let me know if you want to see that. I decided to do just one coat. You can see a little bit of the grain. It's not real wood, so whatever that is coming through, but I did like the look of that, so I was happy with just one coat. I let the paint dry, then I'm going to add Mod Podge. I dropped it there, but I'm only going to add Mod Podge to the place where I'm putting the vinyl, where that scallop edge is. I didn't have time to do the whole thing with all my other projects. I really should go back and add it though. It will prevent that paint from chipping. I'm using all permanent vinyl in this video, either 651 or StarCraft HD. The font is BFC Sleepy Student, and I did 1 inch for the height. Since the area is not very tall, I measured the height instead of the width, and I just let it automatically adjust that width. I'm using vinyl for all of my cut settings today. Now I weed out the vinyl, then I add transfer tape on top. My go-to is the Caesar brand. If you've watched my channel, I talk about this a lot because I always use it, but it just works really well. I'm counting the scallops to make sure it's in the center, then I place down my vinyl. The Mod Podge must not have been dried all the way because the transfer tape picked up a little bit above the end there. I just kind of peeled it away and it looked fine. I think I'm going to hang it right here in my daughter's room. I did see another space that I liked too. I haven't decided yet. I honestly might just leave it sitting on the shelf like this, but we'll see. I love how adorable it is and it'll add some color to her room. For my next project, I picked up this butterfly basket. I thought it was adorable. My 8-year-old loves butterflies, so I'm going to put this in her room. I'm going to make a stencil with the Cricut and paint on the basket. I did this 5 years ago with this Easter Bunny basket. This was $5. When you buy stuff at Target Bullseye section, it does add up quickly. I found a flower design in the Cricut image library. You want something very simple so that it'll show up well on the basket. I made this 3 inches for the height. I brought the design down a little bit on the cutting mat since you need a little extra space for the stencil. It doesn't matter what color vinyl you use because we're only using this for a stencil. I weed out the actual design. It needs to be the opposite of what you typically do. I'm using transfer tape to bring this over to the basket. Since it's a pretty simple design, to save on transfer tape, you could just peel away that vinyl and add it yourself. There's only one extra piece, the middle of the flower, so that would work. I made the transfer tape just fitting over that design so I didn't waste a whole bunch, and I do like to reuse my transfer tape all the time. I just don't like wasting paper. I'll peel away the vinyl and transfer tape, then line it up on my basket and place it down. I run my fingernail over those edges. You want that to be pressed down super well so that the paint doesn't go through it. Then I remove the transfer tape. Once I do that, I make sure to press those edges one more time. I'm using more apple barrel paint. It's called Pink Blush. The best hack, I like to use makeup wedges for the stencil. It's also very inexpensive. You can't see my paint here, but I put some on butcher paper. Then I also dab a little bit off so it's not like dripping with paint. That just helps prevent it to not seep through those vinyl edges. There was a little bit the sponge struggled to get, so I grabbed a smaller paintbrush and just went over that just to make sure you can see the paint a little better. I don't wait for the paint to dry to peel the stencil. I did this almost immediately after painting, and I find it helps with crisp lines. I'm using my weeding tool to take out this middle piece. I think it looks really cute, but I felt like it needed a little more, so I'm going to add a couple butterflies and color in the center of the flower. I cut out 2 butterflies. One was 1 inch for the width and the other 1.25. I just free-handed the center, which was really easy. I'm so glad I added the yellow. You can really tell it's a flower now. For these, I don't need transfer tape, which is really nice. I just peel up the vinyl and place it on the basket. With this type of basket and this small stencil, I decided to use one of my smaller paintbrushes, and that worked really well. Next, I do the lavender one. I thought that was really pretty for spring and a butterfly. I'm wondering if I should add something on the other corner, maybe another butterfly. Let me know what you think. So before the flower, I had tried her name, and it looks like a big blob. The design has to have more like shapes in it for it to show up on this type of basket weave. I think this is just so adorable though. I think I'll put it on her shelf with some of her lotions inside, but she can switch it up with whatever she wants to put in it. For my next project, I found this glass cup, and I really liked that wavy shape on the inside. It was $3, and I think it would be a great espresso cup or a cup for iced drinks. For this one, you definitely do want to spray with rubbing alcohol to really get that glass nice and clean. I'm going to be adding little bumblebees to the glass. Look how tiny this is. This is my finished one here. I'm going to set it to the side. I'll just hide it actually. And I do want to change a few things with the bee. I want it to be really simple. I saw an anthropology glass with some little bees on it, so I'm kind of trying to recreate that. I'm going to take a few things out of here. I need to hit ungroup. I'll move this out of the way. I want to go down and contour out this squiggly line. I don't like the antennas, so I'm going to take those out of there. I'm going to bring these back and just group this together. I want to keep everything the same size, so I just find that easier. I'm making it bigger so it's easier. Then I'll grab a square. I need to slice these out of here. It's not going to be perfect, but with how small the bees are going to be, it won't be noticeable. So what I'm going to do is just try to line it up, both edges up with this, and try to get that out of there. Okay, it's really zoomed in. I think that looks good though. So I am going to go over to my layers panel. I'll select just the black part. I'll hit Shift on my keyboard and select the square. Then I'll hit Slice down at the bottom. Now I can go in and delete all of these. And there you go. You can see it's not totally perfect, but like I said, you won't notice it at all. So I'll do the same thing for this. And I didn't get this piece deleted. I just need to do the same thing. I'll bring it over here. I'll hit unlock and slice these out. Okay, now I'm going to send this to the back, and I should have my other pieces. I'm going to change this to white, and my bee is ready. I am going to resize this, and I'm going to make it super tiny, 0.5 inches for the width. I'm going to be cutting out 6 of these. To do that, I'll go up to my project copies and hit apply. I'll type in 6. These cuts are so tiny, so if you do a project like this, it takes a lot of patience. I find it so much easier to weed if you cut out every piece first. This prevents you from losing pieces easily. When weeding, I highly recommend a pen tool. It makes it much easier, and I do recommend a self-healing mat because you need something for that pen tool to press into. Then I use transfer tape to layer the pieces onto the black vinyl. I reuse that same transfer sheet for all of them, and like I said, this takes a little bit of patience too. It's so tiny. Here I have all of them pieced together and looks really cute. I grab a fresh transfer tape and add it to the first one. When I place the bees on, I do it very randomly. I'm not trying to line it up anyway. I think it looks better that way anyways. I guessed on 6. I thought it'd be good, but I did have a bare spot, so I had to go in and cut out one more, and I added that last one. I did not expect this to be so adorable. I love the tiny bees. I'll make sure I hand wash this. These will come off in the dishwasher, especially since they're so tiny, but it is permanent vinyl, so it should last really well on the cup. My next find are these suitcase tags. I loved how bright and colorful they were, just perfect for summer if you're going on a trip. These were $1 each. I've added vinyl to bag tags in a previous video. I bought those on Amazon. I bought a 10-pack for $6. They were 60 cents each. But these are nice if you only need a couple. I chose really bright scrap color vinyls for this. This one has a few more steps in Cricut Design Space, so I thought I'd show you how I did that quickly. I'm going to hide the ones I've already made. I'll click on text. The font I'm using is Babass New or Babass Kai, I think. I'm just going to do my name for both of these. I want this to be 3 inches for the width. I'll click edit. Then I'll go over to width and hit 3. I'm going to duplicate this since I'm making 2. Then I'll go down to offset. I just love the look of offsets on personalized items. I'm just going to drag this down, and I just kind of do what I think looks good. I think I'll do that. Then I'll change the colors in here. I'm going to do a lighter orange. Then for the offset, I'm going to do a darker orange. I'll do the same thing for this one. I will click offset. I'll do the same size offset. For the color, I'll do light blue and dark blue. That's done. I don't need to attach anything. It is going to make it a little over 3 inches with the offset, but that's fine. You do want to change the colors to match the vinyl in Cricut Design Space. So I know my first color is going to be the darker orange. Then I'll choose the lighter orange and so on. I'll have the Cricut cut out all these pieces. Have you guys been using your Cricut lately? If so, what have you been making? I always love to hear, and in the comments, it's nice because it gives other people ideas of what you can do. I've heard kind of throughout social media that people have not been using adhesive vinyl as much anymore. So I'm hoping with these projects, it can give you some good ideas that you can use with it. When layering different colors of vinyl, I like to do the layering first, then I'll place the entire piece on the blank, so here on the tag. I find it easier to get it lined up better that way. I also like to reuse the same transfer tape. Is there any projects you'd like to see me make on my channel that you've been wanting to make with your Cricut? Let me know. I always want ideas so I can put out content that you're looking for. These are so bright and fun. It will definitely make it easy to find my luggage bags. I just wish I had a fun trip coming up to use them. I thought this next find was really good. You can use it for so many different events. It's an acrylic card box. You put the cards through the slot at the top and then it opens in the back. This was $5. I'm adding a graduation decal to this, but it would be great for weddings or baby showers too. Here's the design I'll be using for this. I found it in Creative Fabrica. You can also create this in Cricut Design Space with your own font and images as well. One thing with this is it's only a PNG, it's not an SVG, so I'll show you how that's a problem and how to fix it. I'll go to Upload. This looks different. I don't know if this just changed. I'll click Upload Image. It'll bring me to my Downloads folder. I'll double click on this. I'll hit Continue, Apply and Continue. And if I were to select a flat graphic, I'll show you what it looks like in Cricut Design Space. It's only going to be one layer. I could separate these by using the contour button. It would take a lot longer, so I'll show you what you can do instead. I haven't used this much, but I am going to do the multiple layers. It basically turns it into an SVG. In Design Space, this is for Cricut Access users only. I only want 2 layers because I just have 2 colors. Then I'll hit Continue and Upload. One thing with this, I am filming this Design Space tutorial after I've already cut out my vinyl. I did not notice this, but if I hit Ungroup and move the black, there is yellow underneath there. I didn't realize that, so the Cricut cut that out. To get that out of there, you can just contour it out. You would select all these pieces. You can zoom in for these little pieces. Then you can just have it cut out these 2 pieces. I decided to do 5.5 inches for my width. Then I can click the Make button and it'll pull it onto 2 different mats. Cricut will cut both of these out. I was thinking another fun thing you can do is add little fairy lights inside the acrylic. It'd be really pretty. You can also paint it and add vinyl. I was even thinking you could put some flowers on the top and some lights in it and then put vinyl for kind of everyday decor. Also, if you read books, you can do something with it. Lots of ideas. Once again, I layer first, so I'm kind of figuring out where the graduate is going to be. I place it in the center, then place that transfer tape on top. I messed up adding this a little bit. The U and A were a little too close for the G, and I couldn't change it. That's where the parchment paper method would have came in handy. With that, you line it up first, then place it down. It's so easy. I'm using rubbing alcohol here. You don't necessarily have to do that for this type of project, but it does help the vinyl adhere better. Then I line this up. It would be really great to personalize this with a name as well. Vinyl on acrylic, I like to use the felt side of the squeegee. It helps prevent bubbles in the vinyl. Here's how this turned out. It looks great. I think even a gold or chrome vinyl would look good instead of the yellow. Or you could do school colors. Lastly, I found this double wall vase. I've seen people do really cute things with these online. They typically put flowers in the center, and around the outside, they get a little more creative with things like peeps, lemons. Mine's going to be a lot more niche, but I'm going to use this for propagating my plants. I saw someone do this online and thought this would make it look a little cuter. Here's a fiddle leaf I was propagating, so I think this would look really cute in this space. She also did 2 different types of plants in each section. I found this image in Cricut Design Space. I did 5 inches for the width. A little tip when weeding the vinyl, don't crumple up the excess right away. Double check that your pieces stayed first. In this one, the apostrophe pulled up with it. I can just grab it and place it back down. Somehow I end up losing it again when I'm weeding, so it just wasn't meant to be. I just moved the T a little closer to the end and left it without it. Another tip is to roll up that excess vinyl, and when you're reading the little letters, just stick it onto that. It makes it really easy. I love using this tumbler cradle for round objects, not just cups. It works great for something like this too. Already looking at this, I didn't expect it to be this cute. I have a built-in shelf right next to a window in my living room, so I like to put a lot of my plants there, and this is going to look really good there. I love how this turned out. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your favorite project and put a spring emoji if you made it all the way through the video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you are new, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one.